Hi, this is Allison Normore to you from my book Return to Pangaea, Plight of the Blue Whales. On April 21st, 2014, the body of a large whale was sighted on the ice-packed harbor of Trout River, Newfoundland, a 20-minute drive from my home. I saw a photo of its bloated mass embedded in the ragged, frozen surface posted on Facebook, an image barely recognizable as a whale. A neighbor told me the news. It was a blue whale, and 8 more of them had been found frozen in the landlocked ice on the Strait of Belle Isle off the northwest coast. I listened with a sense of shock. I knew this was significant, but couldn't remember why. To conservationists, this was a tragic loss for the endangered whale species. A marine biologist interviewed by the local media reported that blue whales were usually solitary creatures that sometimes traveled in pairs, but 9 together was uncommon. Ice entrapment and collisions with ships are the usual causes of death for the largest mammals living on the planet. The blue whales have never recovered from the extensive whaling in the early half of this century that led them to the brink of extinction. This time, the experts theorized, death resulted from a change in wind direction. The pod was feeding on the krill that thrive in the frigid cold waters at the edges of sea ice. The 9 whales were caught during an unusually long winter with record amounts of ice. As a student of ancient wisdom traditions, I was struck by the number 9, a multiple of 3, which is sacred mystery language or code for the earth goddess, and a signature of feminine divinity. 9 also signifies the completion of a major cycle and the beginning of a new one. 3 whale carcasses drifted ashore close to my home in Bombay. As the pack ice in Trout River Harbor melted and the first whale breached next to a long stone breakwater arrayed with brightly painted fishing sheds near the river entrance, another drifted ashore in Rocky Harbor, north of my home at the mouth of Bombay. It lay on a shallow beach at the foot of a cemetery in the protected law of a sloping hill. The third came ashore at a remote beach between Trout River and Bombay and washed out to sea before people could retrieve it. I remembered a dream from 2 months earlier. My journal, dated February 21st, 2014, reads, I'm standing on a high wharf where many people are gathered to look out over the water. I push forward to the edge to see whales swimming in the water below. They are extremely large and long. One surfaces at the edge of the wharf, its long, wide mouth open, as if reaching for my hand. It singles me out, and I'm amazed. I sense it wants to hold my hand. Nervously, I put my hand in its mouth, wondering if it will bite me. I'm relieved there are no teeth, and surprised it's gentle. Thank you, I say, and add, I'm sorry. I feel sad and distressed about something, and I don't know what. The scene shifts to the harbor where floodlights and giant screens are set up out in the harbor to record the whales. It looks like a vast film set. The whales are playful, jumping out of the water. One has a baby that it balances on its nose like a seal. Almost instantly, the harbor is filled with snow, packed, uh, covered pack ice. People on large bikes and tall, strange-looking vehicles look like they're playing a game on the ice. My memory of the majesty and gentle nature of the great whale that made contact gave me a personal sense of connection to the tragedy, the full significance of which I could not yet comprehend. That night, it was difficult to sleep. My mind reeled and my body buzzed with unknown anxieties. As I dozed between sleeping and waking, I was visited by a presence that filled my bedroom with powerful, all encompassing love. I fell asleep as it enfolded me. As I awakened, I saw on my inner vision a page of words. One word stood out loud. During the next couple of days, my perception of sound became acute. I was startled awake by what sounded like thunder. Although, as I reached full consciousness, it became apparent the roaring in my ears was simply the wind and rain falling on the roof. The normal sounds of tree frogs and the kind of crows were amplified. Everything was extraordinarily loud, and I made notes. I registered these experiences but allowed myself to be distracted by an upcoming trip to Ontario. Preparing to leave gave me a new focus and an excuse to be away from the small community where everyone was talking about the whales. I felt overwhelmed and I needed space and time to process what had happened. As I shared the tragic loss with friends in Ontario, sadness encompassed me in a dark, dense cloud. I imagined the dying whales, the crushing inevitability within their ice prison as they slowly suffocated. I relived their last moments, painfully aware of their close bonds and extraordinary ability to communicate. I imagined their last precious breaths. I awakened with a deep ache in the center of my chest. I knew it was possible to die of heartache. The grief I felt was disproportionate to the event, my logic said. I was overreacting. Animals die all the time. Yet my heart swelled with the memory of that great whale holding my hand, and I wondered, what did it mean?